Commander Da-hyun stood tall before the Galactic Coalition Council. His uniform, normally pristine, showed small tears and burn marks. His face looked tired, but his eyes burned with excitement. He had just returned from a 6-month mission to the outer reaches of known space. Distinguished council members, Da-hyun began, "My team has made a discovery that will change our understanding of the galaxy forever." The council chamber was massive, with high ceilings and walls made of a shimmering blue metal. The 7 council members sat at an elevated table, looking down at Da-hyun. Chief Administrator Ju-won, an older alien with gray skin and 4 eyes, leaned forward. "Commander Da-hyun, your reports are always welcome," Ju-won said. "Your exploration team has brought much honor to the coalition. Please share your findings." Da-hyun took a deep breath. "We found humans." The chamber erupted with noise. Some council members laughed. Others whispered to each other. Ju-won raised a hand, and silence returned. "Commander," Ju-won said slowly, "humans are myths. Stories we tell our younglings. They are not real." Da-hyun shook his head. "With all respect, Chief Administrator, they are real. We observed them from orbit. We collected data. We even managed to record them." He pressed a button on his wrist device. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed strange bipedal creatures building structures on a blue-green planet. These recordings were taken in the Sol system on the 3rd planet. Da-hyun explained, "The beings match all the descriptions from our old stories. They are humans." An older council member named Wook stood up. "This is nonsense. Humans are legends. They are the monsters of children's tales." Lieutenant Soo-jin, who stood behind Da-hyun, stepped forward. She was younger than Da-hyun, with purple markings around her eyes that showed her mountain clan heritage. "Council Member Wook," she said firmly, "I saw them too. Our entire crew did. They exist." Ju-won studied the hologram. "The stories say humans can survive conditions that would kill any normal species. They say humans hunt for sport, not food. They say humans can continue fighting even with terrible injuries." "The stories got some things right," Da-hyun admitted. "Their planet has radiation levels that should be deadly. Their gravity is 1.5 times our standard. We observed them hunting large animals with simple tools." Council Member Young, the youngest on the council, looked interested. "If this is true, we must learn more about them." "No," Wook shouted. "If humans are real and as dangerous as our stories say, we should stay far away from them." The council erupted into arguments again. Ju-won called for quiet. "Commander Da-hyun," Ju-won said, "your record is excellent. You have never brought false information before, but this claim is extraordinary. The scientific consensus for 500 years has been that humans are fictional, a legend created long ago when our ancestors first traveled the stars." Da-hyun stood firm. "I understand, Chief Administrator. That is why we brought back all the evidence we could gather." Ju-won looked troubled. "The council will review your evidence. Until then, this matter is classified. You and your crew will not discuss your findings with anyone outside this room." After the meeting, Da-hyun and Soo-jin walked through the gleaming corridors of Coalition headquarters. "They don't believe us," Soo-jin said. "They will," Da-hyun replied. "When they see all our data, they will have to believe. And if they don't?" Da-hyun stopped walking and looked out a window at the stars. "Then we must return and gather more proof. The galaxy deserves to know the truth." Soo-jin nodded. "I'll stand with you, Commander, even if the whole coalition calls us liars." Da-hyun smiled at his loyal second-in-command. "Tomorrow we present our evidence to the Scientific Academy. Professor Ta-woo might listen, even if the council won't." As they continued walking, neither noticed the shadowy figure following them. Chief Administrator Ju-won's assistant, Kyung-ho, watched with narrowed eyes. If humans were real, this news could cause panic throughout the coalition. Some would see it as an opportunity, others as a threat. Either way, Ju-1 would want to know everything Da-hyun and his crew did next. The truth about humans was about to shake the foundations of galactic society, and it all started with one brave explorer who refused to stay silent. The Scientific Academy was the pride of the Galactic Coalition. Its curved walls were made of a clear material that showed the stars outside. Inside, hundreds of the greatest minds gathered to share knowledge. Da-hyun and Soo-jin stood in the main presentation hall. In front of them sat 50 scientists, all curious about the emergency meeting. At the front row sat Professor Ta-woo, head of Xenobiology. His skin was pale blue, and his 6-fingered hands moved constantly as he waited. "Thank you for coming," Da-hyun began. "I know many of you have heard rumors about our mission." Professor Ta-woo nodded. "Yes, Commander. Word spreads quickly. You claim to have found humans." "I don't claim it. I know it," Da-hyun said firmly. "And I have brought evidence." He touched his wrist device, and the room darkened. A large screen lit up behind him, showing a blue-green planet. "This is Earth, third planet in the Sol system," Da-hyun explained. "Our scans show that its atmosphere contains oxygen levels that would be toxic to most coalition species." The scientists murmured with interest. Soo-jin stepped forward and pressed another button. The image changed to show readings of the planet's surface. "The radiation from their star should make the planet's surface uninhabitable," she said. "Yet the humans not only survive there, but build huge cities." The screen showed massive structures of metal and stone. The scientists leaned forward, their eyes wide. Professor Ta-woo raised a hand. "Commander, these structures could be natural formations that only look artificial from orbit." "I thought the same," Da-hyun replied. "But watch this." The screen changed again. Now it showed the Bictal creatures, humans, moving between buildings. They rode in metal vehicles. They gathered in large groups. Some even swam in large bodies of water. "The gravity on that planet is 1.5 times our standard," Da-hyun continued. "For most coalition species, that would crush their bones. These humans move freely." An older scientist stood up. "This could be faked. We all know the stories of humans, but we've never found real evidence before." Da-hyun nodded. "I understand your skepticism. That's why I saved our most convincing evidence for last." The screen changed again. Now it showed humans in a forest. They carried simple tools made of metal and wood. They were tracking a large animal with sharp teeth and claws. "This creature is a top predator on their planet," Soo-jin explained. Yet the humans hunted with tools that seemed primitive compared to their city technology. The scientists watched as the humans surrounded the animal. When it charged at one human, another jumped on its back. Despite being clawed and thrown to the ground, the human got back up and continued the hunt. Professor Ta-woo stood slowly. "It recovers from injury that quickly." "Yes," Da-hyun said. "And watch how they communicate during the hunt. They work together perfectly." The video ended with the humans successfully capturing the animal, not killing it, but placing a small device on its neck before releasing it. They were studying it, Da-hyun explained, not hunting for food as the legends say. The room was silent. Then Professor Ta-woo spoke. "Commander, this is remarkable footage. If genuine, it would change everything we know about sentient life forms." "It is genuine," Soo-jin insisted. Professor Ta-woo nodded slowly. "I believe you think that. But extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. We need more than recordings." "What would convince you?" Da-hyun asked. "Physical evidence, samples, or better yet, direct contact." Ta-woo looked around at the other scientists. "Our histories tell us that humans are dangerous, that they can survive conditions that would kill us, that they heal with impossible speed. If even half of this is true, we must be cautious." As the meeting ended, many scientists gathered around Da-hyun with questions, but he noticed some left quickly, looking troubled. "They're afraid," Soo-jin said quietly. "Yes," Da-hyun agreed. But Professor Ta Wu is right. We need more evidence. He looked out at the stars visible through the academy walls. We need to go back to Earth. Outside the academy, Kyung Ho watched from the shadows. He touched a communication device on his wrist. Chief Administrator, they're planning to return to the human planet. 3 days after the Scientific Academy meeting, Da Hyun stood in Docking Bay 7. Around him, workers loaded supplies onto his ship, the Starseeker. The ship was not large, but it was fast and had good shields, perfect for a small team on a secret mission. Commander, all science equipment is on board, Su Jin reported as she walked up to him. But the council has not approved this mission. Da Hyun smiled. They have not approved it, but they have not forbidden it either. A small but important difference, said a new voice. They turned to see Ho Jun, a xenobiologist with bright orange skin and large eyes. He carried a case of scientific tools. Professor Ho Jun, Da Hyun greeted him. Thank you for joining us. Ho Jun nodded. After seeing your evidence, how could I stay? If humans are real, I must study them. We will only observe from orbit, Da Hyun reminded him. No direct contact yet. 2 more people approached. One was Jin A, a cultural analyst with silver markings on her face. The other was Gai Seok, a security officer who stood taller than the others. Our team is complete, Da Hyun said. 5 of us should be enough. Jin A looked excited. I studied all the human legends. If they had a language, I can learn it. Jai Seok seemed less happy. My job is to keep you all safe. If humans are as dangerous as the stories say, 5 of us is not enough. The stories exaggerate, Da Hyun said. From what we observed, humans are strong but peaceful. They all turned as the docking bay doors opened. Chief Administrator Ju Won entered, followed by Kyung Mo. Commander Da Hyun, Ju Won said, I hear you are planning another trip to the Sol system. Da Hyun stood straight. Yes, Chief Administrator. We need more evidence to convince the Academy. The Council has not approved this mission, Ju Won said. But they have not forbidden it either, Da Hyun replied. This is a standard research mission. I do not need special permission. Ju Won looked at each member of the team. You all understand the risks. If humans are real and notice you, there could be trouble. We will be careful, Su Jin promised. Ju Won sighed. I cannot stop you without making this official, and I do not want to cause panic by announcing that humans might be real. He turned to leave, then stopped. Send daily reports. If you miss even one, I will send ships to find you. After Ju Won left, Kyung Ho stayed behind. His thin face showed no emotion. The Chief Administrator worries for your safety, he said. And for the safety of the Coalition, if you are right about humans. We will be safe, Da Hyun assured him. Kyung Ho nodded and left. Jai Seok watched him go. I don't trust him, Jai Seok said. He watches us too closely. He's just doing his job, Da Hyun replied, though he shared the same worry. An hour later, the team was on board the Starseeker. Da Hyun sat in the captain's chair. The others took their positions. Systems check, he called. Engines ready, Su Jin reported. Science equipment ready, said Ho Jun. Communication systems ready, Jin 8 added. Security systems ready, Jai Seok finished. Da Hyun nodded. Set course for the Sol system. We will arrive in 3 days. The ship lifted smoothly from the docking bay. It rose through the atmosphere and into space. Soon, they were far enough from the planet to activate the faster-than-light drive. Jump in 3, 2, 1, Su Jin counted down. The stars stretched into lines, and the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. In his private quarters on the Coalition homeworld, Ju Won spoke quietly to Kyung Ho. Follow them, he ordered. Take the stealth ship Shadow Dance. Stay hidden, but watch everything they do. Kyung Ho bowed. And if they make contact with the humans? Ju Won looked troubled. Then you must use your judgment. The Coalition cannot risk a conflict with a species that might be as dangerous as our legends say. I understand, Kyung-ho said. I will protect the Coalition, whatever it takes. As the Starseeker traveled toward Earth, its crew did not know they were being followed. They did not know that Kyung-ho had orders that might put them all in danger. After 3 days of faster-than-light travel, the Starseeker arrived at the edge of the Sol system. Da-hyun ordered the ship to slow down and approach carefully. Activate the cloaking shield, he commanded. We don't want to be seen yet. Soo-jin pressed several buttons on her control panel. Cloaking shield active. We are invisible to most scanning technology. The ship moved slowly toward the third planet, Earth. From space, it was beautiful, with blue oceans, white clouds, and green and brown land masses. Look at all that water, Hejun said with wonder. Most of the planet is covered in it. And the humans can swim in it, Jin Abe added. Our records show that they even build homes near water. Jae-seok frowned. Such homes would be easy to attack. Strange that they feel safe. The Starseeker entered Earth orbit. Below them, they could see cities glowing with light on the dark side of the planet. During the day, they watched humans move about in vehicles, build structures, and gather in groups. Their technology is less advanced than ours, Hejun observed, but they seem to have mastered their environment. Da-hyun nodded. Focus our scanners on different climate zones. I want to see how they adapt. For 2 days, they watched humans living in deserts, mountains, forests, and frozen lands. They saw them swooning in oceans, climbing tall peaks, and crossing hot sands. It's amazing, Jin-ae said. No other species we know can live in so many different environments without special equipment. On the 3rd day, they witnessed something unexpected. A large wave of water, what humans called a tsunami, hit a coastal city. Buildings were damaged, and many humans were in danger. They'll evacuate, Jae-seok predicted. Any sensible species would abandon the area. But the humans did not evacuate. Instead, they organized rescue teams. They used boats, aircraft, and even swam into dangerous waters to save others. Humans who were hurt continued to help, ignoring their own injuries. This contradicts all our stories, Soo-jin said quietly. They're not mindless predators. They care for each other. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Warning lights flashed on all control panels. What's happening? Da-hyun demanded. Our systems are failing, Soo-jin reported, working quickly at her controls. The planet's magnetic field is stronger than we expected. It's affecting our power core. Another shake, stronger than the first. The lights flickered. We're losing orbit, Soo-jin warned. We need to land and make repairs. Da-hyun looked at his team. This was not part of the plan. Landing meant possible contact with humans, but they had no choice. Find a remote landing spot, he ordered, away from human settlements. Soo-jin guided the ship down through Earth's atmosphere. The hull glowed red with heat as they descended. Finally, they landed in a forest clearing, far from any city. Damage report, Da-hyun asked once they were on the ground. The power core is damaged, Soo-jin said after checking the systems. I can fix it, but I need time. At least 3 days. Da-hyun nodded. Hejun, check the outside atmosphere. Jin-ae, monitor for any human communications. Jae-seok, secure our perimeter. They each moved to their tasks. Hejun ran tests on the air outside. We can breathe it, he reported. The oxygen level is high but not dangerous for short periods. The radiation from their sun is stronger than ours, but our skin can handle it for a few hours at a time. Da-hyun looked out the ship's window at the Earth forest. The trees were taller than any on the Coalition worlds. The plants were various shades of green. Small creatures moved through the underbrush. We'll work in shifts, he decided. Soo-jin, you start repairs. The rest of us will keep watch. Unknown to them, their landing had not gone unnoticed. At a research station 5 kilometers away, Human scientists had detected their arrival. A team was already on its way to investigate, and far above in orbit, Kyung-ho watched from the Shadowlands. He had followed the Starseeker across the galaxy. Now he sent a message back to the Coalition. The commander's ship has landed on the human planet. I am monitoring the situation. The forest was quiet except for the sounds of birds and small animals. Da-hyun stood outside the Starseeker, breathing Earth's air for the first time. It felt rich and heavy in his lungs. The sun was warm on his blue skin. Commander, Jae-seok called from the ship's door. Our sensors detect movement. Something is coming this way. Da-hyun turned quickly. How many? How fast? 5 life forms. They move slowly. They appear to be humans. Inside the ship, the team gathered to plan. Soo-jin looked up from the engine parts she was fixing. We could try to leave, she suggested. The engines can work enough for a short flight. But the power core might fail again, Hajun pointed out. We could crash. Jin-ae studied the sensor readings. They don't seem to be carrying heavy weapons. Maybe they're just curious. Da-hyun thought for a moment. We knew this might happen. We came to study humans. Now they've found us first. Our stories say humans attack anything different. Jae-seok warned. I should prepare weapons. No, Da-hyun decided. No weapons. We've seen them rescue each other. They showed care, not violence. I will meet them myself. The rest of you stay in the ship, ready to leave if there's danger. Despite protests from Jae-seok, Da-hyun walked out alone. He stood in the clearing and waited. Soon, 5 humans appeared from between the trees. They wore matching clothes with patches that showed symbols and words. 4 of them stopped at the edge of the clearing. One continued forward slowly. This human was taller than the others. He had dark hair and skin the color of the earth itself. He carried no visible weapons. He stopped 10 steps from Da-hyun and raised his empty hands. Hello, the human said. We mean no harm. Da-hyun could not understand the words, but the tone seemed peaceful. He raised his own hands to copy the gesture. The human pointed to himself. Minho, he said clearly. Da-hyun understood. He pointed to himself. Da-hyun. Minho smiled. The expression was similar to smiles in Da-hyun's culture. This was a good sign. Minho pointed to the ship, then made a downward motion with his hand, followed by a questioning look. He wants to know if we crashed. Jin-ae's voice came through Da-hyun's communicator. She was watching from inside the ship. Da-hyun nodded to Minho and pointed to the sky, then made the same downward motion. He pointed to the ship and made a circular motion with his finger, trying to indicate repairs. Minho seemed to understand. He pointed to himself and his team, then to the ship with another questioning look. I think he's offering help, Jin-ae said through the communicator. Da-hyun hesitated. Their mission was to observe only. But their ship needed repairs, and these humans might have materials they could use. Commander, Soo-jin's voice came through the communicator. I can come out. I need to see what materials they have. I'll come too, Jin-ae added. I might be able to start building a translation system if I hear more of their language. Da-hyun gave a small nod. The ship's door opened, and Soo-jin and Jin-ae walked out to join him. Minho's eyes widened at the sight of more aliens, but he showed no fear. Instead, he waved to his team, and they approached slowly. One was a female human with long hair tied back. Another carried a box with equipment. Jin-ae moved closer to the humans, listening carefully as Minho spoke to his team. She activated her language analysis device, which was disguised as a bracelet. Their language has patterns I can work with, she said quietly to Da-hyun. Give me a few hours, and I can build a basic translator. Minho pointed to the path they had come from, then made a motion like a roof over his head. I think he's inviting us to their base, Soo-jin said. Da-hyun looked at Minho's open, friendly face, nothing like the monster from Coalition Stories. He made a decision. Tell Hejun and Jai-seok to secure the ship, he told Soo-jin. We three will go with the humans. We need their help, and this is a chance to learn. High above Earth, Kyung-ho watched through the shadowed sensors. He saw the aliens and humans meeting peacefully. This was not what the coalition stories predicted. He sent another message. First contact has occurred. The humans have not attacked. They appear to be helping our team. This contradicts all known information about humans. Awaiting further orders. The Human Research Station was a collection of white buildings in a large clearing. Solar panels covered many of the roofs. A tall metal tower with various instruments stood in the center. As they approached, more humans came out to watch. They kept a respectful distance, but their faces showed clear excitement. They don't seem afraid of us, Soo-jin whispered to Da-hyun. Maybe they've been hoping to meet aliens, Jin-ae suggested. Min-ho led them to the main building. Inside was a large room filled with screens, devices, and tables covered with papers. Several humans worked at different stations. They all stopped and stared when the aliens entered. Min-ho spoke to his team, and a female human brought forward a device. She set it on a table and turned it on. It projected a three-dimensional map of the local star systems. They're showing us they understand space travel, Jin-ae said. They're trying to communicate. Da-hyun pointed to one of the stars on the map. It was the location of the coalition's main world. Then he pointed to himself. Min-ho nodded with excitement. He pointed to Earth on the map, then to himself. Jin-ae worked quickly with her translation device, listening to the humans talk. After an hour, her device beeped. I have a basic translation working, she said. It's not perfect, but we can try it. She activated the translator, which looked like a small pin. She attached one to Da-hyun's uniform and handed others to Min-ho and his team. Hello, Da-hyun said. Can you understand me now? The translator converted his words into human language. Min-ho's eyes widened in surprise. Yes, I understand, Min-ho replied, his words translated back for the aliens. This is amazing. I am Dr. Min-ho, lead xenobiologist at this research station. I am Commander Da-hyun of the Galactic Coalition. This is Lieutenant Soo-jin, our engineer, and Jin-ae, our cultural analyst. Min-ho bowed slightly. You are the first aliens we have met. We have been searching the stars for others like us for many years. While they talked, Soo-jin examined some of the human technology around the room. She picked up various devices, studying how they worked. Your technology is different from ours, she said. You use different materials and methods, but you've solved many of the same problems. We would be happy to share our knowledge, Min-ho said, and we hope you will share yours. Da-hyun hesitated. The coalition had strict rules about sharing technology with new species, but before he could reply, a new human entered the room. This one was smaller, with bright eyes and quick movements. My son, Min-ho explained. He is 10 years old and very curious. The child approached without fear. He looked up at the aliens with wonder, not terror. He smiled and waved. Da-hyun was shocked. In coalition stories, human children were described as especially dangerous, trained from birth to attack. But this child showed only friendly curiosity. Jai-seok, who had joined them from the ship, watched the child with confusion. The stories can't be true, he said quietly. Look at him. He's just a child, like our younglings. Meanwhile, Hejun was speaking with another human scientist who had shown him their medical facility. Their biology is fascinating, Hejun reported to Da-hyun. Their cells can repair damage much faster than ours. They heal quickly from injuries. That part of our stories is true, but they are not monsters. Their bodies are simply adapted to survive on this high-gravity, high-radiation planet. Min-ho took them to a room with historical displays. It showed human history through pictures and artifacts. Our ancestors once met beings from the stars, Min-ho explained, pointing to ancient cave paintings that showed strange figures coming from the sky. But that was thousands of years ago. The visitors never returned. We thought we were alone until today. Dahyun studied the paintings carefully. The figures looked like members of the coalition species. Our histories might be connected, he said. We have stories of humans too, but they describe you as dangerous predators. Minho looked surprised. We are predators by evolution. We hunt, but we also build, create, and care for each other and our world. Dahyun nodded. I see that now. Our stories got many things wrong. Watching the peaceful exchange, none of them knew that Kyung-ho had received new orders from the coalition. Orders that would soon threaten this new understanding between species. 2 days passed at the Human Research Station. Soo-jin worked with human engineers to repair the Starseeker's power core. Ha-jung and the human doctors shared knowledge about their different species. Jin-A improved her translator and learned more about human language and culture. Dahyun and Minho spent hours talking about their worlds. They found many differences, but also many things in common. Your people value exploration just as we do, Minho said as they walked outside the station. We both looked to the stars with wonder. Dahyun nodded. The coalition began as explorers, but over time, fear took over. We started to avoid unknown species rather than meet them. Fear is natural, Minho replied, but curiosity is stronger, I think. That evening, they shared a meal together. Humans and aliens sat at the same table, eating food safe for their different bodies. Jae-seok, who had been the most worried about humans, was now playing a simple game with Minho's son. I never thought I would see this, Soo-jin said to Dahyun. Our people's getting along so well. We must bring this news back to the coalition. Dahyun agreed. It will change everything. Suddenly, alarms sounded throughout the station. A human rushed into the room. Unknown spacecraft entering the atmosphere, she reported. Heading straight for us. Dahyun felt cold fear. That's not possible. No one knew we were here except Kyung-ho. Soo-jin finished. He must have followed us. They rushed outside. In the sky, they saw a black ship descending fast toward the station. It was the Shadowdance, a coalition military vessel. We need to contact him, Dahyun said. Tell him the humans are peaceful. But before they could act, the ship landed in the clearing. Its doors opened, and Kyung-ho stepped out, followed by 10 armed coalition soldiers. Commander Dahyun, Kyung-ho called. Step away from the humans. They are dangerous. They are not dangerous, Dahyun shouted back. You've seen us living with them peacefully. Your own eyes tell you our stories are wrong. Kyung-ho's face showed no emotion. I have orders from Chief Administrator Ju-won. The Coalition Council has decided that humans pose too great a risk. We are to take samples for study and then ensure they cannot threaten us. Minho stepped forward. What does he mean? Dahyun turned to Minho. He's been ordered to capture some of you and then. He couldn't finish the sentence. And then sterilize this infestation. Kyung-ho said coldly. We will eliminate any threat to the coalition. The human researchers gasped. Minho's face showed shock, then anger. We welcomed you, he said. We helped you. We shared our knowledge. And we thank you for that, Kyung-ho replied. But the safety of trillions of coalition citizens comes first. The soldiers moved forward, weapons ready. Jae-seok quickly pushed Minho's son behind him, protecting the child. No, Dahyun said, stepping between the soldiers and the humans. I will not allow this. Soo-jin joined him. Then Ha-jung, Jin-A, and finally Jae-seok. They formed a line protecting the humans. Think about what you're doing, Dahyun said to Kyung-ho. You've seen them. They're not the monsters from our stories. I have my orders, Kyung-ho insisted. Orders based on lies, Dahyun countered. Look around you. Have they attacked us? Have they shown any aggression? They fixed our ship. They shared their food and knowledge. Kyung-ho hesitated. For the first time, doubt showed on his face. Soo-jin saw her chance. While everyone was focused on Da-hyun and Kyung-ho, she activated a small device on her wrist. It connected to the Starseeker's communication system. "What are you doing?" Jin-A whispered. "Sending all our evidence to the Coalition Council," Soo-jin replied quietly. "Everything we've learned about humans. They need to see the truth." Kyung-ho raised his weapon. "This is your last warning, Commander. Move aside." Da-hyun stood firm. "If you want to harm these people, you'll have to go through me first." The standoff continued, both sides waiting for the other to move. The future of two species hung in the balance. The Great Hall of the Coalition Council was packed. News had spread quickly that Commander Da-hyun had returned from Earth, and he had brought a human with him. Da-hyun stood in the center of the hall. Next to him stood Dr. Min-ho, tall and calm despite being the first human most Coalition citizens had ever seen. Behind them sat Soo-jin, Hajun, Jin-A, and Jae-seok. Across from them stood Kyung-ho, his face tight with anger. Chief Administrator Ju-won called for silence. "This emergency session will now begin. Commander Da-hyun, you stand accused of treason against the Coalition. You disobeyed direct orders and revealed our existence to a potentially dangerous species." "I revealed nothing that wasn't already known," Da-hyun replied. "The humans have ancient records of contact with our kind." Whispers filled the hall. Ju-won raised his hand for quiet. "Kyung-ho, you were sent to monitor the situation. What did you observe?" Kyung-ho stepped forward. "I observed the commander and his team making unauthorized contact with humans. When I arrived with orders to secure samples and neutralize the threat, they refused. They chose humans over their own kind." "Because your orders were wrong," Da-hyun said firmly. "Based on myths, not facts." Professor Ta-woo stood from his seat among the scientists. "The council should know that Commander Da-hyun sent extensive data before Kyung-ho arrived. This data proves that humans are not the monsters of our legends. They are still dangerous," Kyung-ho insisted. "Their strength, their ability to survive injury, these parts of our stories are true." "Yes," Hajun agreed, standing up. "Some parts are true. Humans are physically strong and heal quickly, but they are not mindless killers. They are scientists, builders, explorers, like us." Jin-A joined him. "Their records show a history of wars, yes, but also of peace, art, and cooperation. They care for their children, their elderly, and even animals. They saved members of our team when Kyung-ho's soldiers opened fire." The council members looked troubled. One of them, a female named Yeonji, asked, "If they are not as our stories say, why did our ancestors fear them so?" "Because of misunderstanding," Da-hyun explained. "The early contact happened when humans were less developed. Both sides were afraid and did not communicate well." "And now?" Ju-won asked. "Should we fear them now?" Da-hyun looked at Min-ho. "I believe it is time to let a human speak for humans." The hall went completely silent as Min-ho stepped forward. His voice was calm and clear, translated for all to hear. "People of the Coalition, I stand before you as proof that your stories about humans are wrong. Yes, we are strong. Yes, we can fight when threatened. But we would rather build than destroy, explore than conquer, learn than fear." He showed them images of Earth, of cities, schools, hospitals, art, and science. He showed human children playing, families sharing meals, researchers studying stars. "We have our legends too," Min-ho continued. "Stories of visitors from the stars who came and went. Some stories say they were gods. Others say they were monsters. All these stories got some things right and many things wrong, just like your stories about us." He looked around the hall. "Today we have a chance to replace stories with truth, fear with understanding, separation with connection. What happens next is your choice." The council members whispered among themselves. Finally, Ju-won spoke. "Commander Da-hyun, You stand by your claim that humans pose no threat to the coalition. I do, Dahyun said. In fact, I believe friendship with humans would make the coalition stronger. And what of the consequences of your actions? You disobeyed orders. I followed the true purpose of our laws, to protect life and seek knowledge. If you punish me for that, I accept it. Ju-won turned to the other council members. They spoke quietly among themselves. Then Ju-won faced the hall again. The evidence presented today has changed many minds, including mine. The council needs time to fully discuss this matter. Until then, Dr. Minho will be our honored guest, not our prisoner. Kyung-ho stepped forward to protest, but Ju-won raised his hand. The days of fear are ending, Kyung-ho. It is time for new stories, true stories, to begin. As Dahyun and Minho left the hall together, many coalition citizens followed, eager to learn more about humans. The myths were falling away, replaced by something new. 1 year later, Dahyun stood on the observation deck of the newly built coalition embassy on Earth. Through the large windows, he could see the beautiful blue sky and green trees of the human world. Inside the embassy, coalition citizens and humans worked together, learning from each other. Amazing how much has changed in just 1 year, Soo-jin said as she joined him at the window. She now served as chief engineer for the embassy. Yes, Dahyun agreed. I sometimes have to remind myself this is real. After the trial, the Coalition Council had voted to establish peaceful relations with Earth. Dahyun, once accused of treason, was now the official ambassador to human territories. His team members had all chosen to stay on Earth with him. Ambassador Dahyun, a voice called. Dr. Minho walked in, smiling. He wore a special pin that marked him as Earth's ambassador to the coalition. The students are ready for your talk. Dahyun nodded. I'll be right there. Together, they walked to a large room where 30 young humans sat waiting. These students had been selected from schools around Earth to learn about coalition species and cultures. Good morning, Dahyun greeted them. Today, we'll continue our discussion about how different species can work together despite our differences. A young human girl raised her hand. Ambassador Dahyun, is it true that your people once thought humans were monsters? Dahyun smiled. Yes, that's true. For centuries, we told stories about dangerous humans who could survive any injury and would attack anything different. We were very wrong. But we can be dangerous, a boy pointed out. Humans have fought many wars. All intelligent species have conflicts, Dahyun explained. The coalition has had wars too. What matters is learning to choose peace when possible. After the class, Dahyun met with Hejun in the embassy's research center. Hejun was working with human scientists to develop new medicines that could help both species. We've made a breakthrough, Hejun announced excitedly. The human ability to heal quickly. We've identified the genes responsible. With their permission, we might adapt this to help our people recover from injuries faster. Excellent work, Dahyun said. This is exactly the kind of cooperation I hoped for. Later that day, Dahyun attended a council meeting via hologram. The coalition leaders appeared around a virtual table. Ambassador Dahyun, Ju-won greeted him. How are the new cultural exchange programs progressing? Very well, Dahyun reported. 200 human students will visit coalition worlds next month, and Jin-A has finished translating 500 human books into our languages. Council member Yun-jae looked pleased. And what of the defense cooperation? Have the humans agreed to share their resilience training? Yes, Dahyun confirmed. Human military experts will begin training our security forces. In exchange, we'll share our shield technology. After the meeting, Dahyun found Gai-seok in the embassy gardens. The once suspicious security officer was now teaching a group of human children how to play a coalition game. Having fun? Dahyun asked. Gai-seok smiled. I never thought I'd feel comfortable around human children. Now I can't imagine my life without them. They learn so quickly. That evening, Da-hyun, Min-ho, and the entire embassy staff gathered for a celebration. 1 year of official relations between Earth and the Coalition was an important milestone. Min-ho raised a glass to new friendships that replace old fears. Da-hyun raised his glass too, and to the power of truth over myth. As they celebrated, news arrived from the Coalition homeworld. The Council had voted to review all mythical species in their records. If humans were real and so different from their legends, perhaps other monsters deserved a second look too. You've started something much bigger than just human Coalition relations, Min-ho told Da-hyun quietly. You've changed how your people see the universe. Da-hyun looked around at the room full of humans and Coalition species talking, laughing, and working together. We all did this together. And this is just the beginning. Outside the embassy windows, the sun set on Earth. In the growing darkness, the lights of human cities glowed alongside the lights of new Coalition settlements. Two civilizations that once existed only in each other's nightmares now shared the same world, the same hopes, and the same future among the stars. The age of myths had ended. The era of truth had begun.